Hey everyone, Joey G with Touch of the Brush Model Weathering, and in this video we're going to show you some of the progress of the studio. And this first part, I'm going to show you the shelves that my partner and I built just to display my train collection. And everything on these shelves is sentimental or has well, basically priceless, but just a sentimental value, and a lot of it's historical pieces that I collected throughout the years. And I'd like to show you some of the trains that are displayed here on the shelves. Now, originally we built these shelves to store our paints and tools and materials for the business as well as the train layout. And we also do a lot of arts and crafts, so we have a lot of this paints and supplies up here, and down here we have a lot of the scenery materials. But I really wanted to store, we decided that would be really nice to display a lot of my train collection. And so we're going to start with this wall here in this first part of the video. And originally I had it to, I was doing the whole thing, but it was actually a very lengthy video and I'd rather do it in two parts. And so we're going to go here and start with this train set. This train set is the original Athearn Blue Box train set that came out in the mid-90s. It's one of my favorite train sets. Originally was my dad's, and he gave it to me later on. And so I took it with me. This boxcar is the Tracks Ahead boxcar that came out in the mid-90s as well. Spencer Christian was originally the host in the 90s, and before him was Ward Kimball. Another collector's item for me and sentimental value is this 50-year boxcar from Model Railroader. This boxcar came out in the 90s. I'm sorry, the 80s. And next to it is the 50th anniversary of Atlas Model Railroad Company. I do have an O-scale car, I think it's the 75th anniversary. That's also on display. And that'll be in the second part of the second video. Here is the Choo Choo Barn Happy Holidays 1997 boxcar. Everybody knows Choo Choo Barn from Strasburg, Pennsylvania. It's a beautiful, I like that boxcar. And then we have, I believe, a Barney or a Tyco Gerber's boxcar, Gerber Baby boxcar. That's an original boxcar. And funny story about this SPSF. A buddy of mine in Nashville, he collects SPSF N scale, and since the SPSF never became an actual railroad, that is the Santa Fe and the Southern Pacific, supposed to merge in the 80s and never did. And I believe they painted one or two boxcars getting ready for the merger or to advertise, and this is what the boxcar would have looked like if the merger really took place. So I really like this boxcar. And here's a Conrail caboose, Operation Lightsaber. Operation Lightsaber is always really loved Operation Lightsaber. I actually wanted to start doing classes to be part of Operation Lightsaber and do clinics for them or teachings. And I love Conrail, so put the two together, there you go. So we're going to start right over here. And this is my post-war collection. Now, regardless if it's a reproduction or not, I love post-war, and I do it for historical purposes. That what trains used to look like before World War II, and is what children used to play with, and of course adults. And this is I believe, an original Baby Ruth boxcar from the 30s. And actually, yeah, it's really nice tin. The doors open up. Still, beautiful piece. A lot of stuff I got off of eBay here, and you can find a lot of great deals and a lot of cool stuff on eBay. I received this gondola for Christmas for my parents one time. It's also, I believe 1937. It's just this car, and everything runs well on here. I mean, there's no problems with the wheels. Nothing's rusted out. This is the original 657 Lino Lines caboose. I believe that's pre-war as well. And then here, this is the only S-gauge piece I have in my collection, is American Flyer original caboose. And when I got on eBay, I also received this Pennsylvania Railroad gondola, and this is also made by Lionel. And I believe it's pre-war, but maybe I'm mistaken. Maybe it is post-war. If anybody in the comments knows anything about this gondola, I'd really like to know. I really appreciate it. Here is this is a reproduction of a Lionel from a post-war car, the helicopter car. The helicopter still flies up in the air. When you wind up the bottom piece, the helicopter propellers wind up and goes up in the air. So that is it still runs, and that's a reproduction made by Lionel. And also this is a searchlight car that was made, I believe, back in the early 2000s. Lionel was still making them for a while, and I know back in the post-war these cars were very popular, so that's why it's also on the shelf. All right, so going down this way, this is a plow in this HO scale section here. This is a plow that I got off of eBay, and I really like it. Really, it works well. These little plows come outward, and I think I'm going to make some teeth on the what do you call it, the plow here. I think that'll look really cool. Here is a South Brooklyn Railroad caboose given to me by Big Bill from Model Railroading Live, also known as YouTube Model Builders. Big Bill has a show, I believe, every Wednesday called Who's Big Bill Talking To? And he features a lot of model railroaders and manufacturers on that particular live show. And so I went to visit him in Staten Island, New York. That's where I'm originally from. And I got to do a tour of his train layout. And you can check out on my YouTube playlist on layout tours. I do have his layout there. He gave me this caboose as a Christmas gift, so I was really appreciative, and it's definitely a display piece, and eventually I may have it on the train layout. Here is a Hudson, New England boxcar that I weathered for RWC Toyman, Ron. I believe I got his channel name right. He interviewed me for the business, and I weathered a boxcar live for him and for YouTube. And everybody on this that's graffitied on this boxcar are the guys who were in the live chat. So you have JT1, I have Gaffa, I have Container Man, I have Sparky 10717, JD, Joy, Nancy, obviously Ron's on here, BNSF 61 or something like that, and just so many. Grandpa's Rails was on here too, so it was a lot of great model railroaders to hang out with, and I really appreciate everybody watching. So I graffitied everybody's YouTube channel name on the boxcar. Here is a Norfolk and Western gondola that I weathered from my own collection, and I have it on here because it has my initials TOTB on it, so I really like that gondola. This CSX boxcar was, I believe, one of the first HO scale boxcars I weathered, and I think I redid it a few times, and that's based off a prototype. So at the first go around didn't look as good as it does now, so you're always improving, and that's why I have this on the shelf, is to show that this is the first boxcar that I started when I really started weathering HO trains. Here's a Union Pacific Fruit Express boxcar that I recently weathered, and I really like it because it was one of the first times I really made a brand new looking truck on the bottom with new wheels. So it looks like I got new wheels, a new set of wheels, and new trucks. And this rail box is a buddy of mine, actually just my same friend from Nashville who likes the SPSF, gave me this rail box car as a gift when I moved to Arkansas, and I weathered this for him. And it has a lot of patchwork on it, as well as some graffiti, decal graffiti. So I really like this boxcar. Here's the other side. The Union Pacific boxcar is one of my favorites in the collection. Highly detailed. I believe it's an Atlas car, and I just like the look of it. The high cubes are one of my favorite boxcars, so I have this on the shelf as well. And then going through here, this is all most of my scenery materials. But then I'm going to go on the bottom here, on the bottom shelf, and put the computer down. We have my collection of dummy locomotives and shells. Here we have a old Canadian National shell that I found on an old locomotive that does not work. So I gutted it out and I took the shell off and made it look like it's hid from the scrap heap. Really rusted out. You can still see the red on the edges for the Canadian National. Canadian National still bleeding through. So that was a cool project that I liked. Here's a SC-45 Southern Pacific Athearn dummy unit, and this actually based off a prototype, and you can check out my Instagram page for the prototype photo. That was a fun project as well. Here's a Conrail Athearn blue box. Let's see. I believe it's a Conrail SC-40-2. It's based off the actual prototype, weathered like the prototype. It had a lot of soot on it, so it probably was hauling coal trains or ore trains through Pennsylvania. So I like the look of that, and you gotta love Conrail going over Horseshoe Curve when they had the SC-40-2s as the helper units. So that's why I have that on the shelf. Over here is a older Bachmann ex-Norfolk Southern GP7 or GP9, and I renumbered it for my old fictional railroad, the Hudson New England Railroad. It's number 5623B. The B represents a B unit, and so there's no one in the cab, but does have an engine in it, and so it helps trains on when they need extra power. And I did some fading work on the sides here, so it looked like it was an old motor got burned down on the edges here, and I painted, looks like primer doors, look like a brand new door. It's just not painted over just yet, and it shows us the ex Norfolk Southern engine. The Susquehanna GP38-2 was painted and decaled by my dad when he was heavily into model railroading when I was young, and I kept that on the shelf. Here's a Southern Pacific SD9 shell that I weathered also for RWC's Toyman's interview. And actually this one is for sale, so if anybody's interested, let me know. I really love this shell, and I hope it finds a really nice home. It's very, very faded out and old and rusty looking, and I think it'll look really nice in the yard or, on a freight train somewhere. So if anybody's interested, let me know. Here is, I believe, a U23B, or a, I forgot, U23-7B, I forgot. But this is also an Athearn blue box, and originally I was going to weather it and paint it for Conrail, but this was undecorated, so I did the painting work, and I did a Conrail patch over for my railroads, the Hudson New England Railroad, H&E, and it looked like the railroad passed over the Conrail logos and the numbers, and it's really rusted, so it looks like just an old beat up locomotive that works the rail yards and maybe the short line of branch lines. So that wraps up this video for part 1 of my shelves. I do have a lot more to show you guys, and I'll be in the second video, so stay tuned for that. And I appreciate everybody hanging out and supporting the channel and the business. This is Joey G with Touch of the Brush Model Weathering. Stay tuned for part 2. Touch of the Brush Model Weathering welcomes you to follow us on all social media platforms. We post almost daily showing you our project updates, upcoming clinics, and videos. If you would like a project completed by us, you can contact us here at TOTBModelWeathering@yahoo.com.